All right. It is officially spoiler season. Welcome to the Pitch Stack Podcast, episode 12. Matt, how are you doing this week?
We are doing excellent. Spoiler season is incredibly exciting, don't you think?
Absolutely. Actually, I mean, as we're sitting here listening to, recording this, man, Ninja's looking pretty scary.
Yeah. I agree. It's kind of insane.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into that, I have devised a new segment for the show, the Weekly Dagger. As one of us presents to the other a complicated judge question and interaction. If you're unfamiliar in the Magic judge community, throwing a difficult question at another judge is called daggering. So maybe we'll just call this Zephyr needling. We'll figure it out. But we're going to start this off with a complicated interaction.
All right. Lay it
Matt,
on me like a sharp
are you ready?
knife to the side or a pike in my rib cage. Lay it on me.
Okay. In this instance, I am playing as Prism and you are playing as Briar. That's not important, but you'll understand in a second.
Okay, I'm Briar, you're Prism.
You're Briar.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So I pitch a yellow to attack you with Coalesce Mirage.
Color?
You defend with a Command and Conquer. No, I'm sorry, not a Command and Conquer. You defend with an Enlightened Strike. I respond. So that all resolves, right? You end up taking 4. We go to the next chain link. I pitch another 2 to attack with a Command and Conquer. You respond with Art of War. What happens?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh man. Modes.
Oh, okay. So the other mode doesn't matter. The only one that matters is you're giving plus
one.
attack plus
Damn
defense.
I knew it. Let me read the rules text of Spectra real quick.
Or Phantasm.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So one of the reasons this is complicated is because they changed the way Phantasm is worded after Monarch was released, but before Everfest was released. That's why I feel like Coalesce Mirage is important here, because it is worded correctly.
Okay, I actually have to use Spell Void because SpabDB actually doesn't have errata updated. They're just pulling the card text and putting it on the description box, funny enough, to see if Spell Void has it updated. What I use as an example every time is Vexing Malice, because that's the one card I remember. I see, damn it, why don't they have an update?
Well, don't.
Okay, but I'm using it as an example because that's the one, like, what's the word? Like, reference I have, because the updated text is when you attack with Vexing Malice, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It used to all say deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Same thing with Seeds of Agony. You can look at that as a reference as well.
Do you want me to give you the Phantasm reminder text off of Coalesce Mirage?
Thank you, yes.
Okay, so when Coalesce Mirage is defended by a non-illusionist attack action card with 6 or more power, destroy Coalesce Mirage and close the combat chain.
Okay. If Coalesce Mirage is defended by a non-illusionist attack action card with 6 or more power, destroy Coalescence Mirage and destroy the combat chain and close the combat chain. That's interesting.
Well, it took me 90 minutes to find the right answer.
All right. Well, I won't take that long, but I'm going to go ahead and give it my best shot. I won't sit here in silence for 90 minutes. But if I'm going to just use my knowledge of Magic, because without like this is my background. Magic judge knowledge is what Columnist and Mirage does not say when. It doesn't say when, right? So it's not
say when.
No, it says if.
Well, so the old Phantasm said if. They changed it to when with Everfest release.
So my answer is a lot easier than nothing happens.
Okay. So
I could be wrong, but I'd say nothing happens.
So this is one of the reasons I found this question to be so fascinating. And that is Flesh and Blood uses the when keyword differently than Magic does.
Right. And I suspected I was wrong, but I needed to stick to my guns here.
So what happens is Phantasm pops on the Coalescent Mirage, the combat chain closes, and your Command and Conquer does nothing. Or my Command and Conquer does nothing.
That's awesome. That's so that's really informative.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so
Extremely.
when means it's a persistent check as long as it's an object in the arena, and defended is a persistent state as long as it is on a link.
Interesting. You know what's funny? I don't know what they do to pull like all of their card text, but Spell Void has the image for Coalescence Mirage, but their reminder of text for Phantasm states if.
Oh, that's weird.
Even though Coalescence Mirage, the physical text reads when.
Oh, that's really weird. I wonder if
think they have
an early preview or something.
They must have I think they must have a like some sort of sheet that's like that has rules text, and whenever a rules text appears on a card, the word will appear, and whenever like the box reads Phantasm, it'll staple the reminder text with reading if blank is defended by, if card name is defended by whatever, destroy card name and close the combat chain. So it'll apply to every card that has Phantasm. That's just my guess, and it hasn't been updated.
Yeah, I mean that
something
makes sense
like that. I don't really know what the technology would be like, the coding, but I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah, I mean you would probably just you'd have to edit all the images,
right?
Because they're probably scraping it from somewhere.
Oh, whoa, okay, so no, actually, it's just an error. Miraging Metamorph says when.
Yeah, so yeah, they should all say when now instead of if. Even if it does say if, it is when.
That's kind of funny.
Basically, if means checks once, when means constantly checking. However, I do want to make this question slightly more complicated. Now that we've found the first answer, there is a third level of complicated that I don't 100% want to get into because everything will fall apart. Maybe I will. Okay, so let's replace
level 2
Command and Conquer with Phantasmaclasm. You respond to Phantasmaclasm being played with that Art of War. Now what happens?
Oh, shit.
Well, this is fascinating.
The entire combat chain closes, and you do not resolve Phantasmaclasm's ability.
So this is what's so fascinating to me. And this is
God, if that ability resolves, I'm being mad.
It's so unintuitive, right? All right, so what happens is it closes the combat chain. There's actually a 3-tiered step to closing the combat chain. And basically what happens is all triggers on the stack resolve, but cannot be responded to. So the Phantasmaclasm does resolve where you get to pick a card and then the combat chain closes.
Oh, shit.
Because the triggers are part of the chain closing. And then the third super complicated one is you can attack with something with Phantasm. And like, let's say I had out, it's not Haze Bending, it's the other one. The one that makes Phantasm go away for your first attack each turn.
Yeah.
Say I had that out. I attack with something else. You respond with something that destroys my aura, that makes that first, or makes the aura go away. That gave the first attack a lack of Phantasm, where now it suddenly has Phantasm, and then it checks to see what it's defended by. You can use that to close the combat chain.
You're just telling me the answer and how that works?
Yeah, because it's weird. Because it checks for the persistent state. Phantasm is that's like, I guess, like the main thing is that Phantasm is persistent. Is it Pierce Reality or is that the +2?
I think it's Passing Mirage, right? Yeah.
Or is it Haze Bending? Yeah, it is Passing Mirage.
Well, so I guess I'm still a little. I guess I'm still a little rusty on the way these card text rules apply to cards whenever they remove abilities. like go
Or the
again.
loses and can't
right?
gain.
Loses and can't gain, right? Yeah. So like my interpretation of it, which it sounds like it's wrong, is that effect already applies, and if you destroy the passing mirage with a scour, it doesn't change the fact that effect's applied already. So like
Right.
the phantasm's already been removed, and you can't unremove it.
Exactly. So all right. So it's not that it can't. So what happens is that it is removed by passing mirage.
Yeah.
So it loses phantasm, right?
Right.
But passing mirage being destroyed is not the card gaining phantasm. Isn't that weird?
No, I'm lost actually. I don't know what you're talking about. So let's just say passing mirage is in play, right?
Yeah.
We attacking with our first attack action that has phantasm, right? So like War-Tune Herald. We attack with a War-Tune Herald, and do we block it or no?
Yeah, so we'll say you block with something with a 6 and then hit a D react so it doesn't hit and go to soul.
Yeah, so it's already lost phantasm.
Right. So we go to the next chain link. Yeah. And you scour. Or like after I play an attack, you scour.
Yeah.
What happens is it now it doesn't gain phantasm, it loses the effect that makes it lose phantasm.
That's
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, it doesn't.
So then it's
not just proactively applied. Like, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's like it's not an eraser. It's just it's whiteout essentially. Like that doesn't. Oh my god!
I know.
Why does it work this way though?
Because it's complicated. I don't know.
It's just okay. But if we're removing and it can't gain phantasm, right? So it's dependent on passing mirage.
Yeah.
That's kind of like not that intuitive, but I guess
I don't think it is either. That's why it's a great question, because it's super unintuitive.
That's like, for example, if a creature in Magic existed that had flash, right? And it said when it enters the battlefield, target creature loses, they can't gain haste, right? So like somebody plays a creature with haste, they try to go to combat, you flash it in, huzzah, you have no haste, and then they go, okay, murder the creature that just took away the haste from my creature. Okay, it has haste again suddenly. Like that's what I'm thinking is happening here, right? Like, wait, you can't just undo the removal of it. It's already been removed. Like that doesn't undo it. But I guess it does.
Yeah, so it has to just do with the way that phantasm is worded as a constantly checking effect, which is just fascinating.
Somebody revoke my L1. I need to go do the test again.
So this is actually, there's a massive amount of questions about this, even on the Judge Discord, because it is super unintuitive.
Very. well,
so that
was pretty stumping. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's not great. So this caused me to go down a massive rabbit hole last night of just trying to figure out how this works and getting a clear answer, because there was a lot of arguing about it before, like some L2 judges and even Josh Scott himself stepped in to explain it in past posts. So that was our first Zephyr Needle daggering session. Yeah. We'll see if we can make them less mind melting in the future.
Yeah, hopefully. That was odd, but at least you know what? Actually, hopefully we've helped somebody up their game, against Prism. So what you've really done here is you've worsened all of your Prism, all of your matchups while you play Prism.
Oh, I'm aware. I was thinking about, I'm going to be super annoying about manually closing the combat chain now.
That's great.
That's awesome. Man. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hit the intro.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Pitch Stack Podcast.
All right, and we're back from the intro. Hope you liked our new trivia segment.
I didn't.
We'll see where it goes next week. Maybe we'll tighten it up. Maybe we'll get even more difficult, confusing questions.
No, that was
alienate as many people as possible.
That was interesting, though. To be honest, that at least will give me a new way to think about the game's abilities and triggers. That's
absolutely.
For sure.
So, before we get into unwrapping our presents, that is spoiler season. Why? How do you feel about a quick skim over a little ProQuest Season 2, Week 3?
Yeah, that couldn't do any harm at all, unless you're a
One would
chain
hope.
player.
Yeah. Then a lot of chain players. So sad. Carrion Husk. Pick it up for $35. No, it won't be as
Levy
bad
is
as
still
New
a
Horizon.
thing.
Not New Horizon, sorry. The weirder one. Levy is still a thing.
Skullbone cross wraps. Yeah.
Skullbone cross wrap. So yeah, this is weird, right? It's so interesting to me, and I mean, obviously we'll get to this in a second, but with what appears to be a Graveyard Matters set coming out, it's really interesting to me that the one character that can play Invert Existence is hitting Living Legend.
Yeah, that is one of the few things I think we're going to be having a loss for. The little void we'll feel when Shane's gone. It's too bad it's not just Shadow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic. I do think my guess is in the next supplemental set they'll add some sort of random adult Shadow Runeblade with another ability, that just so that Shane's card pool isn't like
Viscerai.
Little Shadow Viscerai.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I hope we get like an adult Kasai too. I feel like would be awesome. I've seen a lot of people, I guess, have just been using TTS to test like an adult Kasai, and they said it works really well in the current meta.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Interesting. So I don't know. So all that aside, yes, Chain about to hit Living Legend. OG Bravo won another event this week, which I think is cool. It's nice to see OG Bravo coming out. I think like it must be nice to avoid all that Prism, probably. Like you just
Yeah. I mean, dodging Prism is one of Bravo Showstopper's objectives every single tournament he plays.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I saw that Briar won 10 events this week, which is awesome. Although I have been playing Briar recently, I do think that we are unfortunately about 3 weeks away from that deck disappearing due to the amount of Frostbite tokens that are about to be generated under Briar's control. So yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know if did anything else pop out to you in the whatever you call it, in the results that popped up this week?
I mean, not much other than Shane going away. They confirmed that it was a genuine young hero that placed top 8, young Shane, last week.
Oh my god!
So somebody actually played 20 life Shane. So that's kind of funny.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean, they have a few other notable data points here. Something about Viscerai not actually winning an event, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I heard that it was a misreport. They bungled it.
Yeah, definitely a big bungle moment. Fab Dojo has some results out as well. I don't know if it's error of just submission or they just wanted to put out the first deck list result, but ProQuest Card Merchant in New Zealand only had one player, apparently, and it was Matt Rogers on Prism. He got first place.
Nice.
I mean, it's easy to do. No competition.
Yeah, that's fair. They only had one player. You got first place. That's great. Oh man, I wonder if they're just like a smaller show or a smaller store, and they didn't feel like publishing everything. There's like limited data.
Maybe it could have been that, or whatever. They could have made a mistake, or like you said, it seems more likely that they just published the first place result. But yeah, plenty of Bravo, Starvo. I mean, Starvo's getting first Shanes as well in Prisms for the most part. There haven't been any odd ball decks. I did see a Briar get first place. That's very impressive.
Yeah, I did see that as well. They said Briar had 10 wins this week, which is not bad at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Briar actually ran like Crown of Seeds too. It's very Channel Mount Heroic deck though. But it's odd. It's interesting to see Crown of Seeds.
That is interesting, actually.
It's probably good for like the 5-card hand turns. Is really what it's for.
The hand fixing, actually, now that you mention it, maybe I'll start running Crown and Briar. That sounds great.
It's not terrible. You kind of just sit for a couple turns so you get your tunic counter, and then you use it to fill up your hand.
Yeah, that's what I heard has been the best strategy. So I've been playing kind of an aggro Briar, which has been working for me. But I've been hearing that there is very much a sit and wait, and then really time your ridiculous Channel Mount Heroic turns with Briar. So that's interesting.
Those turns are absolutely crucial, and of course, they're very, very gross, very powerful.
Yeah,
I mean, Scar for 7, and freaking Snatch for 7. Throw out 2 Command and Conquerors, make that 10. Why not?
Yeah, right.
I mean, 2 Channel Mountain Heroics, but may as well throw some Command and Conquerors at them at their face as well. You know?
Yeah, might as well hit them with the old CNC.
Do it while you can.
Got everything.
It won't last long.
I'll have to go on Fab Dojo later and dig up that Earth list.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. It looks pretty impressive.
Interesting. Well, speaking of impressive.
Oh yeah.
Wow. We got a ton of Uprising spoilers. As we're recording this, mere hours ago, they spoiled the first of what looks to be 6 legendaries in this set. My goodness, we'll get to that one eventually. I feel like that card, it has some of the most, it's very interesting because of the amount of game theory you can put around it. It's just fascinating to me. So I don't know. The other thing I've noticed is that haven't seen any Icelander cards, and Ninja seems ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that Dromai is the B tier hero and Faye is the insanely powerful S tier something hero.
Yeah,
this is pretty good. It's not like Faye does anything out of the ordinary of what Ninja wants to usually do, but they're not so focused on specific cards making it happen, other than their Phoenix Flames, right? So Faye's ability, if you haven't seen it already, lets him start the game with a Phoenix Flame in his graveyard. And Phoenix Flames are tokens, by the way, and you can start your deck every game with 3 of them. And you can pay 3. This cost is reduced by 1 for each Draconic Chain Link you control. You can pay 3 to return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand as an instant.
Yeah, and did you notice that those Phoenix Flames are not just for Ninja?
No, not at all. I mean, yes, I did notice, and of course, they are definitely not just for Ninja. So, like, Phoenix Flame can be in a Dromai draft deck as well. Correct.
But you don't start with them in your graveyard, I guess, is the main thing. But you can add 3 of them to your deck real quick in Uprising Limited, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I think she probably needs some, like, if you definitely need some fixing or some filling up your curves a little bit, you can have those in your deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I think those are kind of cool. I like them. So I don't know. I think it's weird though. Like, I don't know what this is going to do for the limited environment. Obviously, if you look at the missing cards, with regular Illusionist and regular Ninja appear to both be getting 7 cards apiece, while Wizard is getting 17 cards for for generics. This is just a generics. So, well, not generic. You know what I mean? Base illusionist, base ninja, and base wizard are getting very different amounts of cards. So I think with wizard getting 17 cards to just base wizard actions, not ice wizard or elemental wizard, maybe there's going to be two distinct ways to build Icelander in this limited format. Obviously getting ahead of myself a little bit, but just, I was thinking about that based on being able to add cards to your draconic heroes.
Yeah, it definitely seems that they're kind of sandbagging all the wizard spoilers, kind of holding them off.
Yeah, it's gonna get real weird. Gonna get real weird. So,
but I'm definitely extremely excited to maybe. This is the first time I'm excited to actually see or play Ninja, right? Like, I'm not really into Katsu personally. I mean, I get it if you're into it, but it's just not my thing. But this is interesting to me, at least. At least the themes. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know if it has something to do with like when I was raised or like when I was born or the generation I was a part of, but I haven't really gotten to a point where I ever thought ninjas were cool until yesterday. So I don't know. I never had like a ninja thing. And so I think this is actually really cool. I don't know. I think ninja just does it for some people where they think ninjas are cool.
Faye made you a ninja boy.
I don't know if he made me a ninja boy, but I can respect Faye from a distance.
Respectable.
So, I don't know. So the thing that stands out to me with Faye, obviously the way this new hero gets, if for some reason you were living under some sort of rock. So basically Faye, you can start with 3 of those Phoenix Flame cards in your graveyard, and then he has a once per turn instant ability. So for 3 resources, you can return a Phoenix Flame from the graveyard to your hand, and it costs 1 resource less for each Draconic Chain Link you control. So it's really interesting how Faye seems to want you to forego traditional ninja attacks because of the amount of attacks he has all reward having multiple Draconic Chain Links.
Yes.
Which I think is fascinating.
I do think that the traditional ninja cards will be helpful to some degree. I just don't think that they're going to be part of like maybe, certain strategies, right? I think that his ability or his instant ability lends himself very much to the limited gameplay. We'll see what the constructed is like and see if maybe it's just more beneficial to have access to the talent pool, right? Not so much the Phoenix Flames. The talent pool may just be enough. I think that the Phoenix Flames are helpful when you're making your Draconic Chain Links. But I think also that maybe not totally necessary. I mean, having access to those Phoenix Flames, because it's not just Phase ability that interacts with those, right? We have Burn Away interacts with that as well, and a few other cards. They care whether you have Phoenix Flames in your graveyards. You can return them to your hand. You can banish them and gain extra bonus effects.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things we want to look at when we're building Fan Constructed, whether we're going to try to benefit a lot from that effect. Probably at first I'd say so, but I think that there's definitely room to look towards these new majestic ninja cards, vanilla ninja cards we've seen, because they're extremely powerful. And I think that in particular this deck and maybe in Blitz decks that these are going to see the most play, because I think Katsu's pretty like set with his combo deck unless he decides to change it to some other kind of variant. But these cards are definitely going to change the Blitz up and also hopefully see some play in Fae, so it's not so limited to Draconic cards only.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did we confirm that Faye's mythic weapon was real? Is that a thing?
Oh, that was fake. The one that came out was a one-handed Kadachi style, like zero.
Yeah,
cost.
That was disgusting.
Super ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought that was going to ruin the game for sure.
It definitely would have.
Okay, so that's great. So what we do have, though, that's interesting is Faye's actual weapon was spoiled today. So it is and I know a lot of people were disappointed by this, but you know what? I think this is one of the places where you kind of have to handicap Faye a little bit because he's just like, if you gave him 2 one-handed swords or daggers, it would just be too easy for him to pump out draconic chain links, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, make it costly.
So giving Faye a 2-handed sword, so it's a once per turn action, 2 resources attack. If you control 2 or more draconic chain links, Searing Ember Blade has go again. So it's important to keep in mind, that this in and of itself counts as a draconic chain link, as a draconic ninja weapon. So basically, you just have to attack with something before it to attack with this and have go again, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, 100%. The 2-handed part of it and the 2 cost is a little prohibitive for competitive play, but we'll see what the majestic one looks like. I mean, this may very well be the only one he's only gonna have access to, but I'm hoping that the majestic one will be a little better. Hopefully, 2-handed, or I mean, a 1-handed. But I think they need to balance it, right? Because, like you said, can't just make another Kodachi that's draconic and then just make it super easy to pull off. It's gonna have to have a cost associated with it.
And you know what's weird, with none of them spoiled yet, I do actually wonder if maybe we don't see majestic weapons in this set. With the new signature weapon rules, it's entirely possible that they're moving away from that model.
It's totally possible. I mean, I don't see it. I think that that's very, I don't know. It's interesting making a different weapon for the limited environment and competitive environments. I mean, they screwed up Duskblade, and then they clearly screwed up Rosetta Thorn, and they couldn't just say it. They screwed up twice, so they just sacrificed Duskblade and gave us the menace that is Rosetta Thorn. Praise be to them.
That said, so based on the current set numbering, they wouldn't be able to put in majestic weapons. What if they're legendary?
Well, it's something I considered as well, is what if we had a legendary like two-hand, like a legendary a legendary one-handed weapon, like a Kodachi style thing. That would be kind of broken.
Oh man, that's what.
Imagine needing to get
that,
2 of
Ninja
them.
fans. So
Dude.
so based on the set numbering, at least the way they did it with Monarch and every other set, it looks like we are not getting majestic weapons, at least.
Well, I wouldn't put legendary weapons like, I wouldn't write it off, because they did legendary shields.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're in the weapon slots. They're offhand. So I mean, I don't believe that there's a limit to what they could make legendary. They make legendary spells too. So legendary heroes, legendary actual actions. So I don't see why we wouldn't just do legendary weapons at some point.
It makes sense. Can you imagine if they're one-handed and you have to like really go out of your way to find the mirror one? It's like a different rarity.
I'd love it though.
Oh gosh.
It'd make you actually have to pay to win with Faye.
Oh Lord.
You had to pay to win.
Oh my gosh. Pay to win. Maybe that's a thing. That could be a legitimate hashtag.
Pay to win.
So I do have just that's pretty great. I do have one last note on Faye.
Yeah.
Well, really not so much on Faye as it is on Draconic Ninja in general. Man, those card borders look so sick on Draconic Ninja.
100%.
Oh, they look so good. Like, just in case you haven't seen them and you're going by audio only, they are the traditional katana wrap that goes on ninja cards, except the red lace. I don't know, the red strip of cloth. I'm sure it has an official name, and I definitely fucked up by not knowing it. but that is it's like a bright glowing orange and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's like very like in the blades, very black. You know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
charred. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
it's super
good.
cool.
Oh, it is so good.
So
So
that's enough of Faye for now. Let's give Dromai her time on the
her
stage in the
comeuppance,
spotlight. Yeah, her what?
her comeuppance, her
Her comeuppance?
I don't know. That's
Uh,
not the word I'm looking for.
Not kermuffins.
Maybe kermuffins.
I don't know what the hell that is, but
I don't either. Maybe we'll find out.
Let's give her 15 minutes.
So Dromai, whenever you pitch a red card, create an ash token. So ash tokens I find a little confusing. I'm sure we'll get some more rules text on them. But basically, you put your ash token under an object, and that object has phantasm. Do you put it under your opponent's stuff?
No. You put it under your own stuff. So like it's a material, right?
Yeah.
So it's you transform. So what I understand from what I can tell, the transform keyword is I mean they'll probably release notes like actual rules notes, but the transform
so you're
keyword is
making something vulnerable.
Yeah, so the transform keyword is associated with a token that has the keyword material, and you can transform any material into an object, right? So in this case, you transform your ashes into Aether Ash Wings, or with invocations, you transform them into legendary dragons, right? Not rarity legendary yet.
That's interesting.
But yeah, you stuff the material underneath it like an aura, and then while it has that underneath, it has a phantasm. But I don't know if there's currently a way. Well, there's currently not a way to remove that that token
unless you transform it.
Well, no, transforming puts it underneath puts the token underneath. It doesn't get rid of the token unless the actual ally is killed. I believe then your material will disappear. Unless it actually isn't disappeared and it turns back to ash, and you can use that ash to turn it into.
You're 100% correct. It does transfer over
that way. Yeah, you can continue to use the ash for future dragons. Yeah.
So all these dragons have phantasm, huh?
Yep, but the thing about them is that they're not legendary in your deck. You can run more than one copy of the invocations. So, like, say you kill my Optimi, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just draw my Optimi again and then play it later.
Well, so Optimi, Tumulti, and Domini are legendary.
Oh, are they? Okay, so
but
yeah,
the
maybe
other
not
dragons,
those.
There's nothing special about the other ones.
Well, those are still not too bad though. I really like the Rosetta Thorn Dragon.
Not legendary. Oh yeah, Rosetta Thorn Dragon, absolutely. Yeah. So the other thing I noticed, right, is we are currently at 9 dragons, which, let's be real, it's too many dragons. And we're going to end up with 12.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably 2 more.
So there are 3 more dragons based on the set numbers.
Are you sure? Because I mean, from what I can see, at least, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong, but from what I can see, I feel like there's less.
So let's see. So we currently have Invoke Optimi.
Yep.
Invoke Tumulti. Invoke Dominia.
That's 3.
So those are 3 legendaries. Yeah. Then we have Invoke Azalai, who is the first of the non-legendaries. And he's UPR 09. Then UPR 10 is blank. Yeah. Then we have Invoke Kyloria, who's UPR 11. Then UPR 12 is blank. Then we have Invoke Necria. Then we have Invoke Uvia, Invoke Thamai, Invoke Vincerakai, and then UPR 17 is blank. And immediately followed by the 3 set numbers for color strip cards. So
yeah, it's 3.
So either we get a common that is only 1 color and alphabetically comes below or before B, or there's 1 more dragon. It's hard to say. It's also possible we just get a rare Draconic Illusionist attack that's not a invoke. So maybe there's 11 dragons. Maybe there's 12. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm just the spacing here, at least on the site we're looking at, isn't super clear because it's including like the Marvel rarities as well.
Oh yeah, so basically what it does is for the spacing, so all the dragons are two-sided.
Yeah.
So they're just showing you the front and the back for each one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, no, now
of them we only have the Marvel rarity, so it put the Marvel rarity there.
Got it. No, yeah, that's probably 12 dragons. All right.
Front and back cards.
There is an odd like there between Billowing Mirage and Rake the Embers. There's like just a single card hanging out there that's unrevealed.
Oh yeah, so that's technically there to represent 21 through 32.
Oh, so it's just not a bunch of blank spaces.
Yeah, so that way it's not just like a blank space and they need to render a whole bunch of things. They just have it there.
Yeah, probably a bunch of illusionist attacks and stuff that we haven't seen yet. I'm pretty excited for that.
Absolutely.
Illusionist Phantasmal Footstep stonks, guys.
I do love Burn Them All.
Oh, yeah.
That card is so gross.
100%. That's like probably one of the best cards I think I've seen.
Absolutely. The art's so cool. Also, big fan of the art of Burn Them All. So basically what it does, once per turn when a dragon you control attacks, it deals 1 arcane damage to each opposing hero. And then at the beginning of your end phase, you put a raise counter on it and then destroy it unless you banish a red card from your graveyard. So it's like a channel mount that is significantly easier to continue to work with.
Yeah. Just keep pumping and dumping those attacks and throw them in your graveyard. You'll be all right.
Absolutely. It's nuts. And that it's interesting to think that includes the Aether Ashwings as well as the big ass dragons.
Oh geez. It's only once per turn at least. So you just need to have a dragon. But yeah, I mean, it's not too hard to just have one dragon in play at once. It's gonna get pretty crazy.
I mean, you and it's also like, I think we're definitely going to see, and this relates to earlier, I think we're going to see a lot of passing Mirage in this deck. I think that's going to be huge because
Phantasm.
To remove Phantasm because it is just illusionist attacks. It is not specifically attack action cards. So it does fix your dragons.
Yeah, there we go.
So that's going to be the 1 blue in this all red deck. Matt.
Also, what's up?
Well, so this is interesting, right? We haven't seen a single generic from this set. We haven't seen any Icelander cards. I wanted to bring something up.
Yeah.
We have not seen a single card spoiled in this set that can pop Phantasm other than Thaw.
Correct. So
6 power plus generics incoming.
We knew that Ninja cards were never going to do that. I think that we're going to see some 6 power ice attacks, some more 6 power draconic vanillas, and probably 6 power generics for sure, like in the red slots and stuff. But I think red's a really important color in the set, especially for Dromai. So she may end up picking a lot of those cards as well. We didn't really go over Dromai's ability as well, but I think it's super relevant to her dragons and the way she's going to be able to extend her turns and stuff. Because if you actually read the dragons themselves, the allies, they don't have any text that allows them to attack.
That's true.
So Dromai's weapon, the Storm of Santakai, actually allows her dragons to attack once per turn for 0.
Absolutely.
And if you've got multiple of them, you're going to need Go again to attack. And that's where Dromai's ability comes in. And if you've played a red card this turn, dragons you control have Go again while attacking. And anytime you pitch a red card, you create an Ash token. So there you go. That's how you enable her entire engine.
Yeah. I don't see a world in any point where you'd want to do this. But, because like when this set comes up and there's just all sorts of weird, interesting things, and I feel like the way my brain works, it's always irrelevant information coming out at all times. And then rabbit hole that goes down there. You can use the Iris of Reality if you wanted to.
If is good.
If you wanted to. So I think that's kind of interesting.
I don't believe it's particularly helpful though, right?
No, I don't think it is in any way whatsoever. I mean, are Ash's auras? No.
They're not.
That would have been messed
Neither
up.
are the Ash Wings.
I actually think, have we seen, is there just one aura for Dromai at this point?
Draconic
them all?
aura?
Yeah, I think
I think it's just burn them all for now.
Interesting. So, I mean, with illusions with illusionists having a big, it seems to be aura focus, I'm sure we will see at least a few more. I would hope.
Perhaps.
Who's to say?
It didn't seem that Dromai is terribly interested in the aura mechanic. Just more about recycling her resources that her card makes and making dragons with invocations.
Yeah, that's fair. Imagine becoming an illusionist and not being interested in auras.
I mean, who's to say that that's all illusionists are about? That's mostly, I think, maybe the light illusionist thing,
Yeah.
Maybe the vanilla illusionist. Hopefully we get a nice young illusionist for our next supplemental set. That'd be cool.
Well, so this is what's interesting, right? When I come back to this, so notably, how I mentioned earlier there was no majestic weapon for Fae or Dromai?
Yeah.
There is no majestic weapon restricted to their talent for Fae or Dromai. So it is entirely possible that we see a majestic ninja weapon and a majestic illusionist weapon.
That's true. That wouldn't be surprising at all to me, to be honest, because it would be better for the actual card, like the value of the card and like the desirability, if it was usable in more than just one hero. So what was interesting about the mostly about what was it? Arya, that the Icy Hammer, Winter's Wail, was usable with Oldhim and Starvo. And then Rosetta Thorn happened to be a generic one, and it was playable across the board. And then Voltaire, being only an elemental bow, was only playable with Lexi.
Oh, interesting. So you think so what you're thinking is it might be the opposite for this set?
Maybe. I mean, it's hard to compare them because Rosetta Thorn is a token. Rosetta Thorn's an anomaly. It's not really easy to compare things to it. But as far as Majestics go, I think that it'd be better to remove the talents from them so that they're more easily accessible by other classes or other heroes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, especially with Icelander, we are not getting a token weapon. Or at least we're not getting a token elemental wizard weapon. I mean, obviously, Kraken Aether Vein is a generic wizard weapon. Maybe we're getting that. It's hard to say.
Maybe that's maybe that's our clue. Maybe that's our clue that's what we're going to be getting. It is some majestic
Kraken Aether Vein.
Well, I mean, I think that's what's going to be
It is her signature weapon.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a token weapon for her in the set. But I think that that
would make sense. If they do make it her token weapon, it would be with the generic wizard cards.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it being anything else. I mean, it'd be really hard to, I don't know, probably design something else for Icelander. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes absolute sense. The only thing that I think would be possible is if my theory about Icelander working a little bit differently with there being 2 limited builds, perhaps we see a secondary weapon.
I
Who
mean,
knows?
I guess it's possible, but I just don't. I don't personally see it. I think that she's gonna have one weapon in the set. It's gonna be the Kraken Aether Vein. If anything, maybe that's where we get our legendary weapon. It's a legendary wizard weapon or something. I don't know.
Wizard sword.
Dude, a wizard sword. That'd be
Wizard
insane.
sword.
It feels so weird to think about wizard getting new things.
Wizards are allowed to have swords.
No, well, I'm just saying, generally speaking, it feels odd for generic wizard to get more cards that aren't just like new blue pitches or better damage spells, because it's
Yeah.
like, well, Kano's whole kit's kind of figured out, like his weapons and his equipments, right? Unless you're providing him with just strictly better like equipments, right?
Yeah.
It'd be weird if you provided him with a new weapon that wasn't like as good as Crucible is at extending his damage.
That's fair. I think that
You
makes
know?
sense.
It'd be weird to try to play him without Crucible.
Maybe they won't give wizards swords because that's basically what a rune blade is.
I mean, just play Runeblade.
Yeah, right. A wizard with swords, a rune blade. I guess unless that sword is dancing separately from said wizard. Maybe
There we
that's
go.
the thin line. It's whether or not you have to hold the sword. That's the difference between wizard and rune blade.
That's how to tell wizards and Runeblades apart. 101 for
Yeah.
dummies.
Check for sword. If sword, see if holding sword. Absolutely. So obviously we don't have any new ones. And we've kind of gone over these a little bit. I mean, obviously we have draconic cards to go through as well. But I just what are your early thoughts on Icelander and how Icelander is going to fit into this weird metagame?
I will answer that question. I just want to point out that Tome of Firebrand is badass.
Yeah, so that's what I was getting at with the draconic cards. Is Tome of Firebrand is so sick. It is a book that is almost on fire, but it looks really hot, so it's probably cooking at Fahrenheit 450. It's 1 degree below. And I don't know. I think like it's such a good card where you play it only if you control 4 or more draconic chain links. You draw 2 cards. It's a draconic instant. I do believe that Aether Ashwings do count as draconic chain links.
Yes.
And so do the dragons. So that said, though, I think this card might be slightly better for Fae than it is Dramai, just because. Well, I don't know. I feel like you're already crushing the game if you're able to get this off as Dramai.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah, just to really close it out.
I think that if your opponent doesn't respect the your allies, this card's a problem for them.
You better respect my allies.
So, like here. So, if they let you have like a dragon and like 3 Aether Wings, and you have a Tome of Firebrand with like 2 cards in hand or something, I mean, I think that's massive. I think that's insane. So you go, okay, or you say just have 3 Aether Wings, right? You play, okay, 0 cost invocation, turn an ash into a dragon. I've played a red card this turn. They all have go again. So you go, okay, attack, and then, okay, pitch the last card of my hand, Tome of Firebrand, and draw 2 cards. And now I have 2 more cards. And then now you just, I don't know, play a Phantasmaclasm or something. You know, it's like, this is like Prism all over again. You have to start spending your turns attacking these little tiny, spending your 6 power attacks or whatever, tap power attacks, attacking these little 1 life dragons and trying to kill these big dragons. And every turn she's just making more and more and more.
Yeah. Not going to be great for Guardian.
You pitch red dragons, you're just going to make you pitch red cards, you're making more ash, more material. That's more dragons.
Gosh, yeah.
And, you better hope you're not a wizard playing against Dromai, because those Aether Wings randomly have Arcane Barrier stapled onto them.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, they do. That, and then I don't know. A lot of these draconic cards are fascinating to me. I do think this is okay. So this is weird. I don't know if you noticed this, Matt. Draconic cards all have one thing in common. and that's they only come in red.
Huh.
Isn't that weird? So far.
So far.
Like, obviously, Draconic Illusionist, like, you get the blue, yellow, red versions of cards. But aside from that, every Draconic card spoiled and every Draconic Ninja card spoiled up to this point has been red.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, it's possible for them to have yellows and blues because some of those commons are like 3 power attacks. They can be like a translate to a 2 power or a 1 power attack, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think we'll get some multicolored Draconic Ninja cards. There's room for 9 cards there before Draconic starts.
Yeah. Interesting.
That said, I really like the idea of like all red blitz decks to teach people how to play the game. You know what I mean?
That's odd.
Like, you know, this one costs 2, so you have to pitch 2 cards to it. And then you show them a yellow card and it just blows their mind. What? Is this the best card in the game? Yeah, right. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
But I do know this. I think Icelander is going to be broken.
Yeah. I think they're saving it. It's gonna break real hard over the next day or two.
It seems possible already with the cards like we have here. Right? We can see like it's almost clear as day, like the direction that we're going. You know, these cards are just like insane. So essentially, what I'm getting at is, sorry about that. That Icelander is going to control the shit out of your turn. And freeze you up, right? Allow you not to activate any of your abilities. But on top of that, she has. I was looking particularly at this card Frostex, right? The Majestic, and it says Frostbites you control it's an affliction. Have at the beginning of your end phase, this deals 1 arcane damage to you. So you want to put this on your opponent. However, it's not legendary, so you can run 3 of them in your deck. If you can get multiples of these on your opponent and make enough Frostbites to where they can't take a turn, they actually can't play a single thing. So, like, let's say, for example, you give them 4 Frostbites, right? If they have 4 Frostbites and they have an all red hand, I don't think they're doing anything.
Yeah.
Unless they have like a 0 cost ability attached to one of their permanents in play. And hold up, that's also assuming they're not frozen. Because if their shit's frozen, they have 4 Frostbites. Okay, I guess I have to pass the turn. That's 4 damage. Okay. That's not even counting any of the arcane damage you dealt to them already, right? So let's say you have 2 Frost Hexes. Well, that's 8 damage if you have 4 Frostbites.
Yeah.
And Ice Eternal is a really good specialization for that. You Ice Fuse it and you give them like XX Frostbites divided by 2, of course, because it's like XX for the cost. You create X Frostbites under a target hero's control, and if it's fused, deal arcane damage to that equal to that hero, equal to the number of Frostbites they control. If you played this on their turn, they also get a Frostbite out of your arsenal.
Yeah,
it's going to be bad. She's going to control you. You can't play the turn. She's also just going to deal all this arcane damage to you.
Well, you know, it's well, you see it like, you know, I think we're going to get more ways to destroy target afflictions. So like the Thaw has destroy target ice affliction specifically, which is an interesting caveat for future game design.
Yeah, for sure.
Or to unfreeze target frozen cards. So my guess is we get generics that can destroy afflictions.
Yeah, 3 Thaws are going to be sideboard staples for sure for these heroes.
Absolutely, for both of them. I don't know if Liquefy will. That might be a sideboard for might be a sideboard card there for Dramai to use against Faye.
I think probably either of them for sure. Faye can pull it off more likely as long as he's not into control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's Liquefy is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Gosh, there's just so much new game design being inhabited by these cards. I mean, afflictions are gonna suck. I think they might end up being a mistake because they're gonna rely on, like, they just never go. Like, I guess, yeah, not all of them are that terrible. Like, as hypothermia destroys itself, but I do think that needing very specific cards to get rid of a permanently and negative effect on your hero is going to be extremely overpowered.
100% agree.
That's crazy.
I think they should bring Skeleton back. Liquefy, between Liquefy, the dragon that blows up, that puts -1 counters or destroys equipments and stuff. I think it's safe. Just bring it back. It'll be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did have one massive spoiler today.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the Crown of Providence.
The Skullcap Killer, as he's called in the streets.
So I don't know if it's necessarily... So, okay. I'll get into this in a second.
I don't know if we'll agree on this. We'll see.
I don't know if it's necessarily better than Skullcap, and I'll get into why in a bit, but we'll talk about the card first. Crown of Providence. When you defend with Crown of Providence, you may put a card from your hand or arsenal on the bottom of your deck if you do draw a card. That's phenomenal for free.
Blade break for 2 toughness.
Yeah, you get a 2 toughness defense,
head.
and then it breaks. So you basically get a free pseudo crown activation, but like better than that because you don't have to pitch for it. And then block 2. I think that's really, really good.
So I'll tell you what I think about this card. I'll tell you that in many games that I've played, I find myself struggling to balance. It depends on my matchups, of course, but struggling to balance the protection that Arcanite Skullcap provides me. And I also find myself in some games, I end up blocking with Skullcap for 1 once, and then maybe later 1 again because it gained, its +1. I don't know. It's I think that this just unless you need the arcane barrier or you desperately need like the extra life point that being behind provides you when you're on Skullcap. I think Crown of Providence is like the way to go, especially if you're ahead. Like, this is the card you play when you're like, I need to fix my hand so I can keep tempo. Like, I am all in on this card for probably Viscerai. I don't think I'd use Skullcap again. Unless, like, for some reason I needed the Arcane Barrier 3. To be honest. Totally honest.
So, I think for me, I think what ends up happening here is Crown of Providence and Arcanite Skullcap both take on very different roles, and I think we'll see at least
Agreed.
1 or 2 lists that run both of them.
Yeah, I think I'll try both first. I definitely think I'll try both first.
And this goes back to in 1999, on January 1st of that date, a man named Mike Flores published an article that would go on to be, in my opinion, the single most influential piece of trading card game strategy ever released. And it was an article about Magic the Gathering, and it's widely considered the first thing you need to read to get good at competitive Magic the Gathering. And it's called Who is the Beatdown? And determining based on your matchup whether you need to take the aggressive role or the control role in this matchup. And I think what you want now is, if you are in the aggressive role, you want Crown of Providence. And if you are in the control role, you're going to want Arcanite Skullcap.
I couldn't agree more. Which is why I'm so high on Crown of Providence.
I think we'll see mid-range lists that run both of them.
Yes. And I think I definitely think that like Arcanite Skullcap is not being outclassed here. Like we cannot understate like the strength of Arcanite Skullcap. It is the OG generic head equipment. It can block, the only equipment in the game that like can block for 3 consistently and also just have Arcane Barrier 3 stapled on it. There's nothing else that has the same text on it as Skullcap. But it's also one of the cards that in mirror matches played Skullcap versus Skullcap is like one of the most interesting things like this game has to offer in terms of like mind games, right? So you have to balance, you know, lying down and taking it to plan further ahead to maybe potentially change tempo, especially with Guardians, because I've noticed that I fall victim to the Guardian, the old Guardian trick of I take it, and then you look at your light totals and you're like, shit. And then they go, Starvo Fuse. And I'm like short 1 block. I'm like, oh, I knew it. I was going to matter whether I dealt that extra damage or not. You know, like absolutely. I shouldn't have overextended. So it's crazy. It's like, but I think Crown of Providence is incredible. Like it's an incredible card. I'm so happy with the design of the card. Like I don't know. I don't know what else I wanted out of a headpiece that I knew was coming. Like, I mean, I think we all figured Crown of Providence was going to be a generic since we saw it was going to be the Lille gold foil. Yeah. But I don't know if we all expected it to be this good.
I think that, and then, you know, I think it made sense for there to be a generic headpiece or a legendary headpiece in the set too, given that there is a majestic / legendary headpiece for both Dramai and Faye that's already printed. So I think it's really interesting. Oh, it's so fascinating for there to be a must-have aggro headpiece all of a sudden.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that we are in dire need of more generic legendaries.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a single generic legendary since 2020.
Yeah, I mean, with this card, Crown of Providence, there's only 4 in the game now.
No, there's 3.
Well, I'm including Shyana for the meme.
Well, she's not generic.
She's the generic hero.
You're calling her generic?
I don't know. I don't know if I am.
You're saying Shyana's a basic bitch, essentially.
I don't know. Maybe she's in this set. There's enough cards. Maybe she's the generic hero. Right. Ooh, generic hero Shyana. Hero,
first one.
Honestly, oh man, what if they just absolutely honey jarred us into that? I don't know.
That'd be impressive, to say the least.
Oh, and she can use wizard cards. That's like the caveat.
Oh man, you know, I think though, seriously, and that would be wild, man.
Hashtag Fourth Hero Truth. Come to fourthherotruth.com. You'll hear what mainstream heroes don't want you to know.
9 out of 10 mainstream heroes hate this guy.
All right.
I think so yeah, like when they said there's going to be 6 legendaries, it just, a lot of it made sense with the number of heroes there are. There's going to be a generic, a draconic in ice, a ninja, an illusionist, and a wizard. That's 6.
Yeah.
So 1 for each talent, and then 1 for each class, and then a generic. So they'll share a draconic legendary. We will see hopefully 2 legendary equipments that are playable for Icelander, and then legendary equipment for ninja and illusionist.
Yeah.
They might be talented ones, but I really hope they're not, because that just makes them a little bit more pigeonholed, you know. But yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go.
Absolutely. I think with Illusionist we end up getting a chess piece, and I think with Ninja we end up getting, oh gosh, do we get a chess piece for both of them? Maybe the chess piece is the draconic.
Yeah, that's my guess. It's going to be like a robe, draconic Drakai robes, right? There'll be something like if you pitch like a red, you can make more mana or something. make more resource. I'm guessing like a talisman of recompense. That'd be interesting. And then maybe Ninja gets a legendary arm piece finally, and they can stop using breaking scales. And then maybe Illusionist gets a legendary arms, so they don't have to use Dreamweavers or whatever else they're using.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
And then
Yeah,
Ice could get a legendary Ice legs. Ice legs.
It's cold feet.
Cold feet. So
Cold
if you don't have
feet.
Storm Striders, you can run those. And then Oldhim finally gets some boots that are actually playable.
I do think the Wizard Legendary is going to be a hands or a headpiece.
It's probably got to be a chess piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Just a cool
could be,
robe.
It could be it's that they don't want to take up the space of like things like meta. I mean, if they do take up an arm space, it's definitely going to not interfere with like what Kano's doing, because he needs Metacarpus nodes over anything. And then if it's a chess piece, it's got to be like somewhat playable, like either like as a budget tunic or just better tunic. I don't know. It's hard because tunic's so good with Kano. And if we're just thinking about Icelander solely, she has the Code of Ice. I mean the Heart of Ice, but that's not necessarily like it's more of like an Oldhim piece, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I feel like that it's now a must-have Oldhim piece against Icelander.
Right. You know, we really could see a Wizard helmet. I mean, I thought about Crown of Providence and Kano and thinking about how good it could be. But we very well could see some sort of like, what if we get a legendary weapon for Wizard? Did we not say that earlier?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about legendary weapons. It's weird for Wizard though, right? I guess it kind of makes sense.
I'm gonna put my money down right now on a legendary weapon, because I feel like it just feels like it's an abundance of legendary. I feel like there's an abundance of legendary equipment that we're seeing coming out, and I think that we need to shake it up. I think we're going to see a legendary weapon, because we saw the legendary specializations in Monarch, and in Aria we saw all legendary equipments, just all legendary equipments, one for each element and then one for each class represented. So I think that when we get to this new set, we're going to see hopefully something like a legendary weapon for the first time. Yeah, and we did see a legendary shield for the first time in Aria, so that might be the course, the plan.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly seems possible. Maybe they follow the pattern that there was in... So this is actually really interesting, right? So there is a pattern in Aria that we might be able to use to follow here. So every single piece of equipment, like all the common pieces of equipment that were non-token but common, the legendary took up the same spot.
Interesting.
Like Shock Charmers, Mark of Lightning, Plume of Evergrowth, Crown of Seeds, Sutcliffe, Suede Hides, Spellbound Creepers.
We know that wasn't the case for Monarch, correct? Because it was Gallantry Gold and then the boots.
Oh, and then the boots, yeah. So no, it was not the case for Monarch.
Carrion Husk. Yeah. Interesting. If we want to speculate in that direction,
might as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be arms for both of them, because they both have common arms.
They do. Ooh, that, and then I mean, as an illusionist player, I can tell you that you very rarely use the illusionist handpiece. Like you almost never use the gloves. It's always either Null Rune hands, whatever it is, the Ironhide hands, or not Crater. Is it Crater Fist?
Crater Fist. No. Goliath Gauntlet.
Not Crater Fist. Goliath Gauntlet. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting theory.
Illusionist hands.
We got to see the first one that comes out, and then we'll know for sure. When we see
100%.
some legendary arms, we're gonna be like, oh, there we go. That's it. That's the tell.
Maybe Icelander will get arms too.
Right?
Everyone gets arms. I don't know. We'll see. It's true though. What would the Draconic be? Would the Draconic be a headpiece? Chest piece?
Yeah, who knows?
Yuck.
Either way, this set looks really freaking dope. I'm really excited. And by next week, I think we should know every single card in the set.
Absolutely.
We'll be in full speculation mode about the meta.
And if you're listening this on release, Tuesday morning, January the 7th, the second and third legendary will be spoiled later this evening. So,
yeah. So we will talk about that next week because we will not have seen those cards.
Yeah, it's crazy to think this is going to be our last episode with just one legendary.
For real.
So we'll get there. I'm excited about this. Wow, this episode, there's so much to go through. I feel like, gosh, maybe we break up a set breakdown after it's all spoiled.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think it would too. We'd have to break it up by things. That way, we don't.
Maybe next episode we do a limited review, right?
Yeah, I guess it'll be fully spoiled by then, huh?
Yeah, we could break it down.
Yeah, I'm about it. We'll do that then. Perfect. Wow, that's weird. The final spoiler for this set is the professor from Tolarian Community College.
Well, he's the final box break. The 3 box breaks. Oh, he's
doing the box break.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did that with, they had him do a box break of Monarch to spoil the Aria Blitz decks.
Yep.
Interesting. What a life.
It's going to be exciting to see.
Matt, do you have anything else to add this week? I feel like we racked our brains on a question. We went through the ProQuest meta RIP chain. And then we looked through what is just a litany of cards, and I'm now afraid of ninjas.
I say that Faye's looking very tempting. I won't say
if you have the money.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to buy 2 legendary katanas, so that's gonna be pretty expensive.
Like the mirror one's a Marvel.
Oh, jeez. Marvel legendary weapons.
Yeah, all are probably gonna have
Marvel legendaries. Extended arts, full arts, legendaries, borderless legendaries.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I wonder how many Marvels will there really be? And I wouldn't put it past them to put some hidden ones in there. It's hard to get. I don't really know. But I guess I'm gonna have to see.
I do. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be crazy. Oh, it's so weird. So much stuff. All right. I think that does it for this week. We're all overwhelmed. You might be too. And we'll see y'all next week.
Till next time.